We all know a lot of details regarding the gruesome crimes of Sean Combs and his accomplices, but in today's video I want to explain from a psychological perspective all possible whys of this case. And also I want to explain why it was important for Sean Combs to ensure others were involved in acts with male sex workers. Spoiler alert, this is related to his speculated homosexuality, not solely for the purposes of gathering compromising evidence. I'm Darina, a practicing therapist in Australia. Let's get started. Firstly, what is his psychological profile? If he would ever be tested, I would suspect two diagnoses. The first one is antisocial personality disorder, which is proven by his illegal activities starting from his early days, such as the shooting in Manhattan in 1999, in which he was involved. By the way, J.Lo was his girlfriend at that time. So what is antisocial personality disorder? It is characterized by disregard for others, lack of empathy, deceitfulness, impulsivity, aggressiveness, irritability, criminal behavior, lack of remorse, and irresponsibility. We can see all of these traits in his behavior. Drugs, weapons, everything has always been there. But what is interesting is that on top of this we can add traits of narcissistic personality disorders, such as grandiosity, need for admiration, sense of entitlement, exploitative behavior, arrogance, preoccupation with success, belief in uniqueness, fantasies of power. And as I have spoken about it in my previous videos, a mix of antisocial personality disorder and narcissistic personality disorder creates what is called a psychopath. This blend of callousness, manipulation, and grandiosity fits many descriptions of psychopathy. What is truly scary is that a psychopath is a chameleon. They come across as very socially acceptable and likable. They can mimic others' emotions, and because of cognitive empathy, they understand what a person needs in the moment. However, their extreme cruelty, manipulation, and zero remorse make them capable of horrendous things that no one could ever believe a human being is capable of. As per the latest reports, the youngest victim was just 9 years old. How can anyone on this planet comprehend this? Now let's look into the abyss of these disgusting behaviors. Why did he need to record all those people and their freakouts parties? Why did it need to be so brutal and cruel, requiring IV fluid drips afterward? Let's start with the first part. First of all, if we are not looking at the fact that he was just gathering compromising material on others, the need to make it so brutal comes from two facts. And the first one is a rise in tolerance. As you guys know, as a therapist, I work with people who have drug and alcohol addiction, and I can tell you that violence and power, similarly to drug addiction, are definitely prone to tolerance growth. If previously the person with substance abuse problem needed just one pill, later on to get the same high they will require 5 pills, 10 pills and more. Similarly, when it comes to sexual deviance, it can start with pretty legal ways of satisfying one's desires, but eventually it just is not enough. As tolerance grows, female sex workers no longer provide the same high, so they started to invite male sex workers, and after that became not enough, they started to lace people's drinks with some drugs to have more control over them, and then victims became younger and younger. So you guys see the pattern here, right? And unfortunately, people are capable of doing really horrible things if not stopped at certain limits. The experiment with Marina Abramovich proves this point. In Marina Abramovich Rhythm 0 1974, she invited audience members to use 72 objects, including feathers, flowers, razor blades, a loaded gun and knives on her body for 6 hours. Initially, participants used gentle items. They were stroking her with feathers and giving her flowers, but as time progressed, some became increasingly aggressive, cutting her skin and pointing their gun at her, revealing human cruelty and desensitization to violence. The performance ended when Abramovich, feeling threatened, stood up, reclaiming her agency. This powerful experiment highlighted the potential for brutality within people when societal norms are suspended, prompting deep reflections on morality and human behavior. We know absolutely horrendous details, but can you guys imagine what we do not know? I personally not even sure I want to know, to be honest. Now let's try to understand why he actually needed to record his own crimes, pretty much. Recording all those freakouts parties serves as a proof for a narcissist of his omnipotence. He can say, I have proof that all this happening here in the video was directed by me. It is also a very typical trait of all maniacs to leave something as a reminder of their power and grandiosity. This is similar to maniacs who collect clothes from their victims, or in some cases even body parts. Diddy was collecting tapes. However, I suspect it could be worse. We will find out more shocking details soon, I'm pretty sure. So it probably wouldn't be just tapes. Now we reach the part about why he had this need to ensure others were involved in these perverted sexual acts, especially with male sex workers. But firstly, guys, if you find this video interesting or useful, please don't forget to hit like button, better do it right now, and subscribe to my channel. It really helps me as a new creator to develop this channel. He forced his friends to participate, so why could he not do it just behind closed doors and avoid the risk of being exposed and imprisoned? From a psychological perspective, I see two angles. The first is his latent homosexuality. There have been rumors that he is homosexual. While this may be true, some people are unable to admit it openly and live happily ever after due to religious beliefs, or in the case of Sean Combs, I suspect due to his gangster image. People like this find perverted ways to satisfy their needs. He created these parties to do it openly. It is like hiding something in the most visible spot, manifesting it, if you know what I mean. By coercing his friends or business colleagues to do the same, he shared the responsibility. He could think, look, you are the same as me, you are not better than me. This is similar to how people involve others in drinking alcohol or using drugs. Statistics show that one drug addict tends to influence about 6 other people to start using. Why is that? Because they know they are doing something wrong and they want to share that burden with someone else. If you do it, then I'm not that bad. You are the same as me. Additionally, I believe that his latent homosexuality could also explain his extremely cruel behavior towards women, such as what we saw in tapes with Cassie Ventura. Since he loves men and wants to be with them, he expresses all his rage and hopelessness on women, unable to be brave enough to openly live his life. He wanted to ensure that others were involved, and from a legal standpoint, of course, it is to make sure that they're all tied together. But from a psychological perspective, deep down, a person knows they're doing something wrong and they want to ensure others are just as bad as they are. I also wanted to talk about how celebrities who probably knew what was happening for years never exposed him or never said anything. Perhaps some of them were participating in these events. Let's see how this video performs, and if it goes well, I will record the second part regarding all bystanders. If you see a video here, I recorded it already probably. Please subscribe to my channel. Here we talk all about psychology of relationship and mental health, and I will see you in the next video.